Let us discuss the next question. This question is from the year 2020. Consider the following statements. 1. According to the Constitution, a person who is eligible to vote can be a minister in a state for 6 months even if he or she is not a member of the legislature of that state. Statement 2. According to the Representation of People Act of 1951, a person convicted of a criminal offense and sentenced to imprisonment for 5 years is permanently disqualified from contesting elections even after his release from the prison. Which of the following statements are correct? Now statement 1 says, according to the Constitution, a person who is eligible to vote can be made a minister for 6 months even if he or she is not a member of the legislature of that particular state. Even if you're not a member of a legislature of a particular state, you can be a minister up to 6 months, and before the 6 months you have to win the election. That will be a correct answer. But in this case, UPSC probably took a different perspective, wherein they probably would have thought that being eligible to vote doesn't necessarily mean that you will be eligible to be appointed as minister, because there are also other conditions. For example, you will have to be registered in the one of the constituencies. So just because you are eligible to vote, when you are eligible to vote, you are eligible to vote when you are more than 18 years of age. So their interpretation could be that just because you are eligible to vote doesn't mean that you are eligible to get elected to the legislature of the house, because the minimum age criteria for the legislative assembly is 25 years. So somebody, say, who is 20 years, he is eligible to vote, but he is not eligible to get elected to the house. Probably they took such a view, and according to UPSC, this statement was incorrect. Statement number 2, the Representation of People's Act says that if some person is convicted for a criminal offense and sentenced to a prison of 5 years, is permanently disqualified. No, he'll be disqualified for certain amount of period, and once he is released, after that he or she can still contest the elections. So this statement is also incorrect. Now, which of the following statements are correct? The answer will be D, neither 1 nor 2. Let us look at the in-depth explanation. According to UPSC, statement 1 is incorrect. If you look at the provisions of the Constitution, it says a person who is eligible to vote can be made a minister for 6 months even if he or she is not a minister, but he has to get elected within the 6 months to continue in that ministerial position. And what are the other requirements given by the Constitution? The person should also meet the age criteria, which is the 25 years for the Legislative Assembly and the 30 years for the Legislative Council. So probably if you just look at this statement without any additional overthinking, you will feel this statement is correct because it is matching with the provisions of the Constitution. So by that logic, I also would have corrected it as correct. But like I said, UPSC probably took this interpretation where they took that just because you are eligible to vote, say you're 20 years, but you're still not 25 years. In that case, you are ineligible to be elected as a minister. So that's why they took this answer as incorrect. But coming to statement number 2, that is very clear. In section 8 of the Representation of People Act of 1951, a person who is convicted for any offense and sentenced to an imprisonment of not less than 2 years, that is 2 years or more, he shall be disqualified from the date of such conviction and shall continue to be disqualified for a further period of 6 months till the time he is released from the prison. So to simplify the statement, if somebody is convicted for more than 2 years, in that case, once he has gone to jail, from the date he comes outside the jail, from that date he will be disqualified for another period of 6 months from the date of his release. So after this 6 years, not 6 months, sorry, 6 years. So after the period of 6 years, he will again be eligible to be standing for the elections. So he shall not be permanently disqualified. So the disqualification period is 6 years from the date of release and not permanent disqualification. So coming back to the question, the answer is D, neither 1 nor 2.